Good morning. This is Catherine, and I am the erstwhile leader of a little group called Manifest Faster. And 3-4 years ago when I started all of this, it was in the middle of a stream of online activity. I've been doing teaching online for many, many years, and I actually started off in the soulmate arena, writing about how to find a soulmate, how to manifest a soulmate. And actually that was really fun because some of the people that I worked with, by the end of the 90 days, they decided they did not want a soulmate. And that was very moving to me, that the work that is done when you do take the time to get focused on what it is that you're wanting, and you really get serious, things change. And some of these people would, at the end of 90 days, sincerely say, you know what, I don't want to have a partner. And it was eye-opening for me and a lot of fun. And there are a couple of children wandering around the planet. There are a couple children wandering around the planet who are here because of the work that I did with people, and that's so gratifying. And there's a few single people who are still waiting. And I don't know why that is. But that really bothered me because I couldn't guarantee a soulmate for anybody. And so it was difficult. And then that's when I found Pam's book in 2015, and Pam Grout, I'm talking about E Squared. And when I did that, all of a sudden my own personal manifesting changed. Things changed for me. And then she mentioned me in the book, Think and Grow Rich, and then I had to figure out a new way of being because people wanted me to teach them how to manifest in general, not just soulmates. So that's how I got to the point where I am right now. Manifest Faster is about 3.5 years old right now. And so I've been happily dealing with people all over the world because Pam's book, it's a miracle what happened in my life. I can't claim any of it, except one thing, that I could focus. I learned how to focus on one thing at a time. And I will have to tell you that working at the pet cemetery, yes, that's part of my story, working at the pet cemetery really helped me because I had to learn how to detach. Everybody please write down the word detach. Critical word. I had to learn because I would have somebody come into the office carrying their beloved pet in their arm, crying, sit at my desk where I would prepare the funeral arrangements for the pet, then take the pet from the person, allow them that time to say goodbye, take the pet back for processing, and return to my desk. One day, I had 12 families come in, one after another. And I got lectured my very first week on the job because my boss said, Catherine, you cannot give a half hour to these people. He's a guy. He's tough. He's an ex-con. But he said to me, you have to control this because if you give a half hour to one, you should give a half hour to all. It's not fair if you only spend 2 minutes with one person because it's the end of the day and you have no more time left. So I did a couple things. I put a clock up by the door so I could see it. I started to create a focus, right? I need to get these people out in 15 minutes, which is a huge thing for me, right? You guys know me well enough, some of you not at all, but I feel when people are hurting. And so to be able to try to turn this into a 15-minute mini grief session was impossible. So what did I do? I created a grief group. And the grief group was called the San Diego Hug Club because I didn't want to call it a grief group. And so Saturday mornings, people would come. And that was the way I could take 15 minutes and gently help them make their arrangement because I had something else to hand them. Learning how to detach from deep emotional pain like that was life-changing for me. It's helped me considerably with everything. I think now what I'm feeling actually is grief because I'm not used to it. I'm in a lot of emotional turmoil, and here we are in this wonderful full moon, which is the perfect vehicle for us to take another step towards detachment, okay? Because if we can learn to stay in our lane, in your own personal lane, with what you know is right or wrong, and you are true to yourself, which I believe is what Abraham teaches, it's what Pam teaches, it's what the Stoics teach from their centuries-old wisdom, that we have a centered place, the vortex, a centered place where the source lives in us. And that the closer we are to that, the more likely we will, are you ready for this? Take a breath. When you're at the center of your lane, you have the greatest chance of making your best decision. That's not that hard, right? It's not like your soulmate is there. It's not like money is there. It's not like peace is there. It's like nothing concrete. The vortex is energy. It's our energy. And Abraham keeps calling us back. And Pam and Course in Miracles just keeps calling us back to stop thinking about stupid shit and realize that most of our thoughts are kind of foolish. And that if you can focus, you can really make a difference for yourself, okay? So with this full moon today, we're going to squeeze this in. In fact, I'm probably going to go a little longer than my 30 minutes. Those of you, it's your first time, I do try to keep these calls short. I was on a class recently, and it was 2.5 hours every Sunday. And excuse my French, but fuck. 2.5 hours, and then I'm supposed to try to focus on this little bits of facts that are knit into this 2.5 hours. I don't have 2.5 hours to sit with a sieve, like a spaghetti sieve, pouring the spaghetti in there and let the water come out so I can learn something. I don't like that. And so my goal in here, again, rather than, I am judging her class a little bit, I'm being real. But for me, instead of bashing a person, I'd rather do something myself that fixes it. That's just me. So what I'm trying to do on these Saturdays is have a real quick little vitamin of what it is to stay focused and to manifest. That's what I want. So that's my goal for today. So we're going to talk about invisible money. I'm so excited about it. I feel so split because part of me is grieving very deeply. And you know what? The biggest grief for me right now, is that if I try to take a stand for my own truth and what I'm going through with my grief, and I put something on Facebook, I get 0 likes, 0. It's so interesting. I'm not a big like person. I only get about 3. So it's not like that is part of it. It's just that when I put something on there that is hard to look at, people ignore it. And so it's wounding to me because I was watching other people like Ellen come out this week and other people who are apologizing because they've been quiet, because everybody has influence. And if you're white like I am, I have white privilege, and it so stings. When I woke up this morning, that's what it was. It stings to recognize it. And so I stand in that energy, and I feel grief. So, but do we give up? Do we give up and not be positive or not believe that by focusing our thoughts we can create reality? And what the fuck does that mean? What is it to create our reality? And what I know for sure is that we create our reaction and we create our response by our thoughts and our words. That's how you create your reality. And so I can't create a reality where all of the protests all over the world are done with no police brutality. I can't create that as Gavin. But what I really believe is that if I stay in my lane and stay close to what I feel I'm here to do, that even this teeny wee influence, 3, 4, 5, 6 people on the call, and I know a lot of people are going to listen to this. So maybe 25 or 30 people will hear this, and maybe they will change one cell of their thinking. And that would be worth it for me. Because I can't give up, you guys. I just can't. I'm living a miracle life some of my family does not agree with me, and some of my family has turned away. And then you walk in, beautiful people from all over the world that, on the E Squared group, on Pam's group yesterday, somebody quoted me from one of my posts and said thank you, because what I said was that plants and animals are safe and sane. They just keep growing. And I love that because I want to be like a fucking plant. Have you ever seen, I live in the desert, so there's trees that when they can't see the sun, I'm going to take a picture and send it so you guys can see it because it's a riot. When trees can't see the sun, these succulent trees, they bend into the incredible shapes. They just twist and they turn and they reach for the sun. Sunflowers, they reach for the sun. And I want to be like a plant. And I live in nature. I live looking at the ocean. I live a miracle life with my 2 dogs. But I am lonely because I'm misunderstood badly in my walk to be in my lane. But the peace that I get day by day is keeping me going. And so I cannot give up. So we're going to talk about the full moon for a minute. I want you all to have a pencil and paper because I want us to put together a full moon vignette, a small piece, and I want you to take it, work at it at home. And then I want to talk about invisible money and talk about this month-long experiment that I want to do, because I sincerely believe with all my heart that we manifestors are missing the boat. Seriously, we are missing the boat with invisible money. Anybody who has had financial difficulties, severe financial difficulties, there's a thing about money. Well, I take that back. There are 25,000 things about money we don't know. Can I hear an amen from a certain person in my audience? But we don't know a lot about how money works. We just don't. And it's very, now especially, you look at all the rich people who are like, well, what the hell can I do? Well, I want to teach something today about invisible money that I believe can work for you today, for sure. And we're going to do 30 days. And so we're going to launch it today. And it's a very simple experiment, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Well, wait a second. Maybe we should do it the other way around. Yeah, let's do it the other way around. So I'm going to do the invisible money part, and then we'll close with the idea of releasing fears and doubts around money. I think that sounds better. And, I think partly what Uni might be calling me to is not to be so damn careful about how I do. Today I had all kinds of mistakes. Yesterday I had mistakes. I sent out emails with the wrong time. I sent email out with the wrong date, June 5th. This is a riot, you guys. This is so fun because I sent out my first invitation saying that the call today was on Saturday, June 5th. Only one person wrote back to me, and you know what they said? They said, you said July 5th, so Saturday is July 6th. When is the money experiment? And it just made me laugh so much because part of me, I'm just being real, part of me wanted to be snarky and write back to the person and say, well, you made a mistake too. I'm just saying because I'm human, okay? But what I did was say thanks for helping me, which is true because I made a mistake. And today I sent out an email that said the call's tomorrow. So I suppose I should show up tomorrow just to see if anybody comes. But I think having that sense of humor and being able to release myself from the high demands is going to be good for me in this period of grief that I'm going through. But invisible money, what is it? Okay. I wrote in my letter, and I'll say it again here, that the idea of invisible money really came to me out of the blue. What I'm seeing now in this world I've been in for 3 years now, that almost every idea I have, I find somewhere else written. Okay? Let me say that again. Almost every idea that I have, later I find somewhere written. And like, for example, with NLP, which I don't know anything about NLP, but I have all kinds of people asking me, do you do NLP? And I say no. And then I went and read about it, and I thought, oh, yes, part of what I do resonates. And so that's what happens with lots of this. So people that know money, people that understand how money works, they know all about invisible money. They might not call it that, but let me just share a little bit with you, okay? Hang on, I got to write myself a note. I can remember to tell you guys this part. One of the things about the wealthy is that they don't pay for a lot of stuff. And this is coming out like right now. Uh-oh. It looks like I just got cut off. Yikes. Let me just go back and see. Okay, hang on. I just want to make sure I'm still on. Okay, I'm still on. My computer's acting weird. Thank you for being patient. But anyway, there's a couple of Netflix specials on that are about a very bad crime. One of them is Jeffrey Epstein's story, which is horrific. And then there's a show I've been watching on Netflix about rich criminals. And so what I see is they don't pay for stuff. If look at how many times, I'm so sorry to bring this person into this conversation, but I can't help it. This wealthy man, many wealthy people flew on his airline for free. Okay? The wealthy people are like, oh, I'm going over to Palm Beach. You want to fly with me? Sure. And they fly. So they're flying private jets, which I don't know. I wish I Googled it. If somebody's here, Google it. But how much does it cost to rent a private jet? I would assume 5 figures. I would assume. So if they rent a private jet and they can have 3 or 4 of their buddies come along, it's invisible money. It's an asset because favors are done. I'll do this for you if you do this for me. And the wealthy, that's the way they do. I mean, they don't pay full boat for anything. Well, they don't pay taxes. Okay, so they don't pay full boat. If they know a guy who owns a plumbing distributorship, they're going to get the stuff at cost. And you don't, okay? So the wealthiest of the wealthy, this is just my theory, again, but as I watched, I thought these people don't spend, or what I like to say, use their money for the same thing you and I do. They don't. If they walk into the very best restaurant in San Diego, take a movie star, take John Travolta. He walks into the finest restaurant in San Diego, you think he's going to buy his dinner, right? So this got me to thinking. In 2016, I had a tough year. I had a really tough year. I had divorced in 2014. I escaped with my life and my dogs and my computer, and I was grateful. But I was really starting over, and it was tough times for me. 2015, I found Pam's book. In 2016, I started to get this. I started thinking about money, and I didn't have much. It was like, how did I get some? And a lot seemed unfair. And I got this idea about invisible money. And so what I did was I started to write down everything. A penny I found on the street. A person would buy me coffee, $3.50. I would write everything down. And it got to be fun. It was a game. Because it multiplied. I mean, it just grew once I was aware. And then you think about the law of attraction. Well, wait a second. If I'm focused on noticing invisible money and I keep my focus, guess what? How could I not have more? And then all of a sudden I started aligning myself, sort of, with the wealthier of the world. And in Think and Grow Rich, what Pam defines as wealth is wonderful. I think I should put this as a meme, because she says wealth is the freedom, the ease and freedom to be generous. The ease and freedom to be generous, which means that if I only had $1 and I gave 50 cents to somebody, I would be wealthy. And that really helped. Then, from one of her experiments in Think and Grow Rich, she talks about giving away money. And giving away money is absolutely delicious. And what I did was I took dollar bills, and I would, you can tie them in a knot, and I would tie them around branches, like in the park where I walked. I would tie dollar bills on the fence, on chain link fence, or on tree branches right where people would have to walk by. And it was so fun for me to think, gosh, somebody's going to find that. And then later I would walk on the beach because I lived in San Diego, and I would go out with 3 $5 bills, preferably new ones if I could get them. And then, because $15, guys, $15, right? That's nothing, even if you only have 50. The point is, though, can you be generous? What a challenge. So I'd walk up to people on the beach, and I asked show me the what. I felt kind of stupid, I'm not telling you a lie. I just felt silly. But I asked Uni, show me the people, and I didn't, trip on the people, but I would see one and walk up, and I'd say, and I would say something foolish tumble out of my mouth, like, God wants to bless you today, or I might say, you're special, you're loved, right? And the people's faces, you guys, it's great, very life-giving. And that experiment in Thank and Grow Rich, I'm not sure what number it is, but try it, especially this month. If you end up being invisible money provider for people, cool, write and tell me about that. I've given $1,000 away 3 times. One time, mysteriously, I left $1,000 cash in a man's mailbox because he had lost his job, and I loved the guy, and I knew he wouldn't take it. 2 other times, just because I had it. What do I need with it? Why do we need 25,000 figures in our bank account, right? There's something wrong, and that's what Pam's teaching. So this round, I found an app, and I'm in love. In fact, Denise and Thomas invented the app, and I haven't met her yet or even talked to her, but I love it. It's called Lucky Bitch, which I'm not thrilled about the name of it, but I don't care because it works. But anyway, so if you have the urge and you want to do it, I recommend, I'm going to take some pictures and put an article so you can see. I'm going to recommend the Lucky Bitch app, because what it does is it lets you count invisible money. And it's the first app I've seen that does that. I've seen a ton of money apps, where they have you calculate what's coming in. But this one, when you add an entry, you get to add, if it's a value, you're putting the money value on it. So you punch the little button that says value, and you put it in there. So this week, I've had some meals bought for me. Somebody gave me a bottle of wine. I've had several things, and I put a money goal for myself, and I'm just going to keep that private. This is my goal for what I'd like to receive this month, and then I've been adding. Now, since the beginning of the month, no real cash has come to me. So what I learned years ago when I started this, that if money doesn't show up, it's hard to keep your spirits up. I mean, if right now, especially, good grief, 55% of women in the United States are unemployed. 55% of the layoffs in the States because of the virus are women. And so many of us are just looking around. How are we going to pay our rent? What's going to happen next? So if money doesn't come right away, you could get discouraged. But get this, in the last 6 days, $185 of free money has come to me already, invisible money, 185. So this app lets you put it in there, and then it calculates, and it tells me the total of the money that I'm expecting, right? So the app actually credits it as money. So thank you, Denise. I'm so excited to use this app because it's in my phone, and now at the end of the day, or even right when a gift comes, I've got it in my hand. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you do need to be disciplined, okay, for sure. And I'm going to open up the call for questions here in a second because I want to be able to make sure it's still clear. It's such a simple experiment, but you have to do it. Okay, so I have one friend who lived in Kansas, and she was struggling. She's a real estate agent and could not get things in traction at all. Had tons of potential, but spinning her wheels. And we did this experiment. Back then, I have a group, The Lounge, that's over on Skype, and at that time it was on Facebook, and I had a whole bunch of people doing the invisible money experiment. And there was resistance, and I will tell you, I had resistance also, because it seems stupid to write down, I found a penny on the street. I think it was no, I take that back. I'm 100% sure it was the smallest amounts that changed my life. I am 1,000% sure that it's the littlest manifestations, the tiniest ones that changed my life. I still could use a better car. And I think all the years, but the reality is that when you start focusing, you decide, no, I don't. And that's a beautiful part of manifesting. You're allowed to change your mind. Because until my car croaks, dies, do I really need one? I mean, do I? No, you may say yes. For Catherine, it's a no. I wanted it sort of, But what I'm learning is you really don't, you can't pick your true desire. Your true desires are deeply inside of you. Your mind can create a desire. You know, I can create a desire for a car and try to manifest it, but that's different than finding down deep, what do you desire? And that's what we're doing in my lounge, and Pam's doing it, and all of the New Age teachers are trying to teach us to stay inside, to keep our energy so focused and so tight that we can easily resonate and we can easily radiate an electricity that the right people recognize. Because our vibe, your vibe, is not for everyone, thank God. You'd be flooded. But the truer you are to yourself, the more likely you're going to be in the right place at the right time. Can I hear an amen from the choir? Amen. Because I can't promise you $1 million. I can't promise you a new job. I can't promise you that the U.S. is going to go back to work. I can't promise any of that. But what I can promise with all of my heart is that if you're in the center of your lane where you know peace inside, that's what I call the vortex, or in alignment, is a sense of deeply felt inner ease. Okay? If you're laying on the bed and you are tight as a drum and you're nervous, you can't manifest yourself out of a paper bag. So I can't tell you if you're going to be a millionaire or not. I can't tell you if you're going to marry a wealthy person or where money's going to come from. But what I can tell you is that if in invisible money you start to do and notice what wealthy people do and notice, you, I think, will have some sort of aha by the end of the month. Now, in my invisible money experiment, and mind you, I've been doing this for years, and I don't even keep track anymore. In fact, in 2016, this is the clincher, I made more money in invisible money than I did in real money. Okay, take that in. My income was lower than invisible money income. I'm going to say that again. My real income, real money, was lower than my abundance of invisible money. That was the year I went on a cruise, $3,000 or more, flight and cruise included. I didn't use a penny of my money. And when that happened, I had already been writing invisible money for a few months. So I had this huge year. But you guys, I hope you can hear this. I want you to get this. If I had been looking for money the whole fucking year, and if I hadn't, imagine if I didn't write down the money, I wouldn't be talking to you today. That's the truth. I don't believe I could have manifested this home in Mexico. I don't believe I could have manifested being in Pam's book, Think and Grow Rich. None of it. Because you have to be different somehow if money is a problem. You have to be different. And comparing yourself to wealthy people can be painful. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But right now, and I'm not saying this to make you feel bad. Gosh, that's the last thing I want to do. But in my own personal money experiment, which I started, now mine's starting today. I'm going to go with you guys. So we're going to go till July 6th. Like that person corrected me, and she was correct because they're going to meet on July 6th, 1 month. But in 1 week, I got $185 myself of invisible money, okay? So I challenge you. I challenge you to jump in and join me. My first invisible money experience, I got myself a little notebook, and I wrote down everything. I was so diligent. Everything that came in. At the end of the day, I'd think to myself, okay, that person bought me a Coke, you know, whatever, $1.50. And then, oh, yeah, one time I was standing in line at the theater going to see a play, trying to get a drink before the play. A man walked up to me and said, now, mind you, I was in the middle of the line. There were at least 10 people in front of me and at least 30 people behind me. And this man walked right up to me, handed me a $5 coupon and said, you need a drink for tonight's performance. No kidding, right? Another thing, I got a letter in December from my insurance company that said, no, from my car note company that said, in order to have a more pleasant holiday, you can skip your car payment this month. What? One of the ladies who was doing this experiment, she was having a ball with it, loving it. And so she was doing it all along and calculating her money, and she was coming up with like $1,000 a month of invisible money. And she was so excited. And then one day she called me, she says, Catherine, oh my God, I forgot something. I said, what? She goes, I'm living at home. I have no rent. Oh, for Pete's sake. That was like we talked it through. Okay, San Diego, renting an apartment where you get your, nice neighborhood, la, 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 la. Well, we're up to maybe $2,000 a month, maybe $2,500 a month. So she tacked that onto her invisible money, and her self-concept just grew, right? Instead of feeling like, oh, I shouldn't be living with my folks, she was young. She was able to take the invisible money, and then you could feel her confidence grow. Right now, I'm looking out at the ocean, that whitewater view. If this apartment was in California, this is a 5-figure apartment, you guys. There aren't even apartments like this available. It's like I can't even imagine. To be able to have whitewater views, ocean view from every window, well over an acre of property available to me, flowers, hiking trails, the whole shot, right? Overlooking a river and a mountain. I'm not saying this to make you guys feel bad. I'm not. But I'm saying this has got to be, I want to guess, $25,000 a month to live in this home in the States on the coast of California. Okay? I'm just going to guess because I don't know a realtor to help me. But then when I think about that value, it's not real money, it's invisible money, because my rent is not at 1% of that. I mean, because I live in a different country, which I never saw coming, right? So the whole thing was manifested, drawing a big circle around this, is that when you're in the center of your lane and you're really working at staying calm and centered, you're in the right place at the right time. You have a good appreciation for how many things come to you without money. So you can stop trying to manifest fucking money. There's a figure, and I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to guess. But I think it's only like 6%, and maybe Brown can help me, but only 6% of the money on the planet is actually paper and coin. Okay? Which means approximately 94% of money is what? Can we hear it? Invisible, right? It's invisible. It's electronic money. If anybody hires me for tapping, they pay electronically, and the money, invisible money, goes from their bank to mine. I never touched it, right? So I found that people who want to manifest money, and they're doing a lot of affirmations around quote, unquote, money, that's not really accurate, because there's only a teeny, teeny bit of paper and coin on the planet. And so that's another application of the invisible money construct, is that invisible money exists right here, right now. It's not flaky or airy-fairy, because most of the money on the planet is coins and dollars, okay? So I'm just going to stop. Hang on, let me see. Is there anything else? I think I'm going to just stop for a second right now, because I want to see if there's any questions on the invisible money experiment. Just in review, what you do is you write down everything. Watch for resistance, because it'll happen. And write to me. Please email me, chat@catherinebean.com, because it's hard. The lady in Kansas, she hated it. She did. I hate having to write down that somebody bought me coffee. It doesn't make sense. And I said, it's okay. Just try it. Well, sure enough, she is like one of the biggest success stories, because once it started, because of her business, there's so much, I'll do this for you if you do that for me, in the real estate community, right? So there's a lot of exchange of value in different professions that if you don't assign some sort of quote-unquote money value to it, you really feel it's not worth it, okay? So you write down everything, and then Saturdays there'll be a call. It's a Course in Miracles experiment is what I'm working on this right now. We're working our way through the book by Pam Grout. Today's a special because of starting the Invisible Money Experiment and the full moon. But at the end of the month, then all you do is total it up. So that's not real hard. So we do that. If you want to get the Lucky Bitch app with me excellent. I find it lots of fun, and it makes me feel happy to write it down. And I don't have to, it's handy because I always have my phone. So I'm going to pop off. I'm going to do Q&A mode here and see if anybody has any questions. And then we're going to go into our full moon release, and I want to talk about what do you do with your feelings about people who have money and are not very nice about it, because that's a perfect thing for the full moon. I'm in Q&A, so I think if you press *6, you'll pop in. Wait, I don't know how. Let me do this. I'm going to go off altogether. Okay, any questions about, yes, it's loud, so sorry, but who's talking to me?
This is Pam. My name's Pam.
Hey, Pam. Hey, Pam, hang on for a second. Hang on for a second. Let me just mute everybody first, because then it'll be easier, okay? Hang on.
Okay, I've unmuted myself. Okay, cool.
Perfect.
Two things. One is that I love that my name is Pam, because every time you talk about Pam Gray, you always say wonderful things, and you say the name Pam, and my unconscious mind goes, hey, that's me. So,
thank you for sharing that. That gave me goosebumps. Honestly, see, I just have to interrupt to say, when you said that, I was flooded with goosebumps, and I wonder if anybody else on the call was, but just for you to reach out and say that connected us, and we're invisible to each other, but thank you for sharing that. I love it. Well, first, when it came in as Pam, when you first joined, I thought, Pam, and there's no last name. Oh, brother. No, I thought, who is this Pam? But anyway, I'm just delighted. So, yes, ma'am, how can I support you?
Well, I'm already starting to make track of invisible money that showed up in the last couple of days, and it's interesting because I was looking at a woman. I signed up for a webinar that somebody's holding online that's $20. That's usually $67, right? So, so I got into for $20, but really that's $47 of invisible money, which is which is not how I would normally look at it. So I can really appreciate how it really shifts my perspective. It shifts my positioning of how I'm looking at something. That's invisible money. That's free money. So thank you for this. It's really a fun game. Thank you, Catherine.
I am so delighted. Because that was, for me, a couple of things when I started to realize how much wealthy people do that naturally, right, in the big world. And then how also, because when you're pressing so hard to manifest money, quote unquote, because you're broke or because you need something, it's so demoralizing not to get any. And so it was like the best gift that I could have gotten was how to value the things that come to me in money terms. So I could hear the joy in your voice. It is fun. It really is. And I can't wait to the end of the month. Because and Pam, can I ask you, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but there you are. Your name is Pam. But when you think about, though, like how difficult and negative the world is right now, can you resonate with my sense of, like, is it okay to want to manifest like silly stuff when people are suffering? Do you have a comment on that as a manifester?
Well, I think it's more than okay. I think it's important. I think we can. There's a lot of grief and a lot of sorrow and a lot of hardship in the world, and yet it's also incredibly abundant, and we're incredibly lucky to be here, even to be a part of it. What an extraordinary time in history. So, we go through this kind of, well, if I can't be happy if things are terrible, it's really an either or perspective, and the more that I do that to myself, the tighter things get and the harder things get. So it doesn't lack compassion to be happy and to want little things that help us be that way. In fact, I think that a rising tide raises all boats. So giving too much energy,
I love that.
Yeah, giving too
I have
much,
to write that down.
Right? Giving too much self-energy to something negative, that can also be destructive. That feeds things.
Right.
So I get it. It's a grapple. But those are old programs that cause us to grapple that way. It doesn't have to be either or, and it's either or that probably really got us into this mess to begin with.
I thank you for sharing your comments. I really appreciate it because it is hard. I mean, what's happening for me, as I said earlier in the call, like I'm feeling my white privilege, and I want to talk about it. It's very difficult for me. It stings. It hurts to realize I didn't do it on purpose. I was born into it, but still to come to grips and accept it, and that seems negative. So I get kind of negative attention for being my honest self, and that's hard. So then you go over to the invisible money game, and it just makes me smile. I mean, yesterday I walked out, and in front of my gate are 3 storage bins because my person across the way just moved in. She doesn't need them. She says, can you use these? So she puts them there. I took the value. I said $5 a piece. Thank you very much, because I wanted to, because you get to pick whatever value. And then guess what? I'm giving them to a friend of mine. Right? So it's like stuff, and that happens all the time. And it does to everybody. I think that's my point, is that every single one of you on this call, if you've never done this before, get ready because it's fun. But we all get stuff all the time. All the time. For example, let's say you've got a park. Now, this is a trick because you have to be a fucking detective. You go park your car at a parking meter, okay? You come back and, oh, shit, it's worn out. But guess what? No ticket. In my city, that's $42. Got it? So you're looking everywhere. You're looking all the time. Here's another example. Let's say somebody says, are you going over to that meeting tonight? And they go, yeah. Do you want to come with me? Sure. How much gas money would it have cost, right? And some people say, well, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. Go ahead. But I'm telling you, if you start writing every single thing that Uni brings to you, you will love it. And obviously, Denise. Now, Denise is a person who invented the Lucky Bitch. She's got thousands of followers. She's in a bigger world. My world is little tiny world, and I have little tiny influence. But I love that I influence influencers, and you guys can go out and change your worlds. So thank you for commenting. Is there anybody else who wants to say something before we do the full moon thing here? I'm running late, 45 minutes, but that's okay. But anybody else have something to say? You can unmute yourself with the *6. Okay, let me just move on then, and there'll be time at the end for comments, for sure. When we come to the end, I'm going to close the recording, and then anybody wants to hang out, chat a little bit, you're welcome. Okay, so let's talk about something juicy. One of the things that helps on a full moon, now full moon was last night, but we're still under the umbrella of the energy. You guys know I really enjoy burning ceremonies. I have of course now with so many unfortunate burnings, and certainly for safety, I would say that a shredder works just as good. Okay, so please shred if you end up doing this experiment, and I hope you do, and then burn these results. Because there's a problem with wealthy people, and that is they're pretty unlikable. Can I hear an amen? Amen. Some wealthy people are unlikable. Some wealthy people are what some people would call despicable. Some wealthy people are criminals. Some wealthy people abuse people. Okay? There's not anything we can do about that. And in the Stoic writing, which I love, there's an app called The Daily Stoic. You definitely want to check that out. Ryan Holiday, he's in his 30s, bleeping brilliant. But these problems were going on at the beginning of time with humanity, the unevenness of wealth and poverty. Okay, now we found out today already one of the big things that impoverished people don't understand is the concept of invisible money. And the second thing is, how can we want to be in a class of people or in a circle of people that are despicable? Okay, so this full moon is ideal for dealing with or processing our resentment of the despicable wealthy people. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. So if you have a pencil and paper, and I hope you do, you could also have a crayon. That would be okay too. And so we're going to write a quick list of people that you hate with that are wealthy. Now, as law of attraction people, you probably avoid using the word hate and try to be positive all the time, just like me. I said on my letter, if you look up Pollyanna in the dictionary, my face is there. I am a person who is extraordinarily optimistic and perky and make people mad for it. But there are people that I don't like very much right now who are wealthy people that are hurting people. So I'm going to do this with you. I'm grabbing a fresh piece of paper and just take like a minute and just write down the names or initials of every wealthy person you can think of who you feel misuses their money, okay? Initials are fine. Just go write down any wealthy person that you're aware of that you feel misuses their money, especially in social media or in Hollywood, right? Some of these people that have no purpose in life except taking pictures of themselves and are wealthy, that can be hard for some people. Some people, it's politicians, okay? See if you can come up with maybe 4 or 5 of them. I'm going to be quiet now so I can think. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm going to do one more. Oh, okay, good. Okay. All right, so now I have a couple movie stars, I have a couple politicians, and I have a crazy person. My crazy person is the Tiger King. I don't know if you guys saw that, but holy shit. Anyway, and the Carol Baskin, those 2 characters from Tiger King. I mean, I'm binging like everybody with the pandemic. But anyway, so I have initials written down. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now, so what we do first, and this I appreciate. Thank you for being patient, because as law of attraction lovers, it's hard to allow the venom. We're not taught how to really be angry or upset. It's like pivot, quick pivot, and look at something brighter. Well, sometimes you can't. So now, see if you can create a description, just with one word descriptions of when you think of this circle of people. In fact, draw a circle around your list. When you think of that list, how does it make you feel? Okay, so the prompt is, these people make me feel blank, okay? And to the best of your ability, write down at least 3 or 4 descriptive words of how they make you feel. Nobody's going to hear these words. One of the things I learned 1,000 things from Napoleon Hill, but one of them that moved me to tears was when he said, when you have something bad happen, don't complain with your voice. Write the words in the sands on the beach and let the water wash them away, which I love. Nobody's telling anybody to keep their shit inside. Nobody. But what they're saying is, don't say it out loud, because words carry such power, as you know, and some words can make you feel really creepy. So this exercise for the full moon, you're not going to say these things out loud. You're just going to write them down, okay? So go ahead, 4 or 5 things that you feel when you think of them. Be honest with yourself. It's okay. Nobody's going to see this but you. Okay. And I wrote down 5, and I'm not proud of them. They're as if somebody furious in the riot was speaking. So I let myself write down how these people make me feel. Okay. Now, anybody have any difficulty with that? Or if you did, if this process is difficult at all, please reach out to me, because I'd love to talk to you about it. That's the trouble on some of these group things. You just can't address everything. Okay, so now this is a reality. If you were not able to write down negative words and comments, that's a problem. Okay? That's a problem. You cannot be 100% positive. You must be honest. Otherwise, you aren't able to drop into your deepest self. Negative is part of life, law of polarity. I will be teaching on that. It's a law. So we have to acknowledge our ugly feelings about people. Now, true or false, we can change these people. Duh, false. We can't. We could stop watching their videos. We could vote for somebody else. We could do those things. But the reality is that their negative personality aspects are terrible for us to look at, and they have money, which is really difficult because now you want to be financially independent. You want to have a flow of finances in your life. You want to have the ability. I love this quote that says, I want to have my ends overlap. I don't want to have my ends just meet. And not being able to make your ends meet, right? All of that we want to disappear. But then what does that mean about money? Do we have to align ourselves with the truly wealthy? Okay, this is tricky, isn't it? Very tricky, because the answer is yes. Why? Why am I saying yes? Here you have these terrible feelings you just wrote down, right? And then they're about these people. But what did we learn earlier? They are the wizards of invisible money. They are the masters of invisible money, okay? So write that down, that these are the masters of invisible money. Because of that, they have something we can access. How cool is that? Because when you calculate your invisible money, it has nothing to do with them. Nothing at all. So we need to align ourselves partly with good, partly with evil. And I was saying to somebody yesterday, one of the signs of emotional maturity is to be able to hold on to two very different points of view at the same time, right? Think about it. And that's what we're doing. That's what Pam would be teaching us. That yes, Course of Miracles, you can hold your focus on the center of you, the source. You can, at the same time as feeling this terrible sting at my white privilege. And I'm so fortunate. I live in a country of immigrants. I'm an immigrant now. I live with brown-skinned people, and the brown-skinned people in Mexico don't like black-skinned people, And I have dear friends that are black, and I treasure their friendships because I can say to them, I'm so sorry. I am sorry. Because I wish I didn't have white privilege, but I do. I can't help it. I can't help it. And so this task for our full moon this month is to help us be able to grow enough like a plant, bending towards the sun, so that we can hold the pain of the change in the world right now and still believe that manifestation happens every day. Because that's the key of invisible money. You're going to see something come every day if you pay attention. Okay? Now, next challenge. Name one person that you admire that has money, and you admire the fact that they have that in public life, in pop culture. Somebody who has money that you admire. Okay? So I'm going to let you guys have a second to think about that. I have a couple. Okay. And I'm going to write down one more. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you who mine are, and then if anybody wants to pop in and tell who yours are, please do. All you have to do is hit *6. But what I want to do is my three: Taylor Swift, Tyler Perry, and Ellen DeGeneres. And those are all people that it's on record of massive financial gifting to less fortunate. That's massive. So those are my three. And to me, they're diametrically opposed to my list of the ugly money people. Anybody else want to pop on, just press *6 and pop on with anyone else that you admire financially.
Oh, I'll add mine, because I got Tyler Perry too, Catherine. It's Sharon. Hello.
Hey, Sharon. Hello. So you had Tyler also?
Yeah.
Anybody else you want to add?
I have Tyler, Oprah, and the Obamas.
Okay, perfect. Great, thanks. Anybody else? That's excellent. Okay, I don't mean to shut people off. I do want to close this in an hour because it's already long for me. But okay, so what we have here is we have a wonderful a seesaw, right? We have wonderful stretch, an existential dilemma. How can we focus on something so good and so bad at the same time? Because if we take action in the world today, like I'm doing, I'm just taking small action to acknowledge my white privilege. I feel like it's a step. I feel like I can't stop anything. But if I acknowledge white privilege, it's like I saw somebody, James Corden. Love James Corden, because he did a cute bit on white privilege last night. And it was like, yes, the black people don't want us to stop being white. You know what? It's like, I don't know how to do anything. But if we just open up and be honest about it, maybe something had happened. And also, you guys all showed up today. You know, I'm being open about negativity. You guys all showed up today. So hallelujah and thanks for that. Okay, so now, here's our full moon. What I want you to do is I want you to consider writing some even though statements. Even though is what I call magic words. They work crazy good, and let me show you how. So right now we have our fuel for beneficence. Our fuel for money is not evil is our list of people who use money well, okay, and are generous with their money. I'm burping over here, so somebody's probably moving energy. If somebody's feeling like a lot of pressure in your upper chest or throat right now, just put your hand there and breathe, because this isn't easy. This isn't easy. So hand on the chest and breathing. But we can break this energy. So if I'm going to write even though statements, this is what I'm going to write. Even though I don't like any of these people, even though I don't like any of these wealthy people, and then I put a comma, I can be happy I don't have to live with them. After the comma, I put whatever pops into my head, and it always evens out my energy. Even though these people are despicable, comma, I can choose to detach from my feelings about them. How's that one, right? Because you can't change them. What is it Abraham says? You can, it's not those people. It's not the ugly people that's the problem. It's your thoughts about them, right? And your thoughts can always be changed. So even though I hate these people, comma, I can choose to educate myself about how to use money a better way. Okay? So we want to process. See if you can come up with a few even those. If you're having trouble, message me. Come to the lounge. I can help you with this. But you want to stir up a little bit of hope. And then come back down to your other people and say, and this is the next set of just like me. Okay, so and these are great magic words. So we're going to come down to the second half of your page where you've got your people that you admire with money. And then you write down just like me, and then put these people, and then you're going to list things that they do that you do too, okay? Just like me, these people like to go outside. And I know this sounds really simplistic, but trust me. Just like me, these people love their family. This is just popping into my mind. You guys can do your own thing. These, just like me, these very wealthy people are generous. I mean, even today, invisible money. Oh, you guys can all start your invisible money log right now because I am very expensive as a coach. And you can pick a price for this hour of my time, right? It's a very expensive price. You can guess. No, but seriously, though, I do magnetizers with people. That's my easiest and most fun work. It's a game that I play to remove blocks. That's $49. $49, and it's a 30-minute session. So even if you just take the minimum and you take $100 for this lesson you just had today, invisible money, baby, okay? So just like me, these wealthy people are generous, and just like me, these wealthy people like to be nice to people. I like that. Okay, so now with any luck at all, you will have a cool little teeter-totter here where you can go back over to those ugly people and you're like, ooh, and then go back to these nice people. And I'm really hoping that you guys can feel inside yourself that you can hold two oppositional ideas at the same time without going kook for coconuts, okay? And you pivot back and forth. Now, next step is you're going to tear out this piece of your notebook like I did, and I'm going to take a picture of it and put it in the lounge before I burn it. But then I'm going to crunch it up and I'm going to burn it. Now, I will tell you, you need to be warned, because last month, what I did is I crunched it up and I wanted to burn it, didn't have anything to burn it in, so I put it in my stainless steel metal sink because it would burn in there. Well, guess what? My little drain basket was plastic and I melted it. So be careful where you're burning. But the purpose of the full moon is to release something intentionally. And so what I want you to release intentionally is this idea that you have to be 100% positive all the time. Because you know what? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's going to wear you out. Because I couldn't for the last week. I'm way off my game. I missed an appointment. I've made errors in my writing. I'm not feeling well. I'm down. I'm trying to bounce back. And then I decided I needed to start canceling things. I mean, let myself grieve. Let myself have whatever it is I'm having, rather than try to be Perky Catherine. Because I am Perky Catherine. It's who I am. But I also am a whitely privileged person, and I have had a life that, because I'm white, has been better. And so I have to deal with that, and now I'm okay. Even saying it out loud, even talking to my black friend about it, even talking to my brown friends about it. And they all say things to me like, oh, don't worry, Catherine, we know you're not hateful and you're not like other white people. Don't worry, it's okay. And I appreciate them saying it's okay, but it's not okay. It's not okay. It just isn't. It's not fair. And so I'm trying to deal. So anyway, that's our full moon. So that's the steps are, and for those listening on recording, thank you so much for hanging in with me. You want to have your list of icky people that you're going to let yourself write a list of how you feel about them, and then you're going to, and when you do that, it's like Napoleon Hill. Instead of complaining to a person, you're writing it somewhere else. So it channels out of you onto the paper, and then you're going to write your list of people you admire with money, and then, just like me, these people, ... and then you're going to write aspects that align yourself with the good people who use money, okay? I mean, these people, they take a shower, right? I mean, maybe you can't think of a single thing. They cut their fucking fingernails, okay? You can think of 5 or 6 things that make you identical to those wealthy people. I guarantee it. And if you struggle, reach out to me. I will help you, okay? Then what we do is we crunch it up, create an intention in your mind to hold 2 different ideas at the same time, and second intention to be faithful to your money experiment, okay? And then crunch it up and burn it. And so that will close us. So today is the tail end of the full moon energy, so you're not going to lose out. I do like to keep these meetings consistent on Saturdays for this purpose, so that y'all can plan on it. I'm going to open the call for questions right now, and then we're going to stop the recording. Thank you so much. I'm way long today, but I think we had a lot to cover. So let me just... Is it anyone with a question or a comment? I know it's noisy, but if you have a comment, let me know, and I'll mute everyone else. Okay, I'm going to cut us off. Thank you so much for attending this meeting today. I think that we will all benefit with this burning ceremony. Allow yourself in your imagination to imagine that many people are doing this. Many people are joining this exact experiment, and let that empower you. Again, it's the Lucky Bitch app for Invisible Money. All right, I'm going to cut the recording, Thanks for being here. My name's Catherine at manifestfaster.com, and feel free to contact me at catherinebean.com if you have any questions, comments, or you're stuck in any way. Go forth and prosper, y'all.